welcome back to it. It is your Feel Good Breakfast show. Lovely Thursday morning, energy packed, and we are certainly enjoying it. But let's take it back a little bit. Can you believe that this week back in 1973, glam rockers Kiss performed their very first concert ever? And I mean, who would have ever thought that back then that these hard rocking band members would with their elaborate outfits would actually go on to become one of the most well-known groups in history. I mean, they had this black and white face paint, and they actually started a new trend of musicians taking on different personas and concealing their true identities on stage for the sake of their music, as they say. So for our Throwback Thursday today, let's count down some of the most weirdest and interesting masked musicians and discuss what and why they were hiding their true selves. Like Mzegezege, like what was the point there? Anyway.
It creates the mystery, man. Well, I love this. Being a kid of the 90s, man, I love the music in the 90s, and one of my favorite bands was the Gorillas. Of course, they were a virtual band. We never actually knew who they were.
Yeah.
They existed in the anime space. I love it. All the band members completely fictional, and they don't even represent real people. And I constantly was like, okay, that's the dude from there.
Yeah, like you might actually see him in the street one day.
Not so, man. They're all completely fictional. And of course, the band's 2001 debut album sold over 7 million copies. So for a band that didn't actually exist, they did pretty well.
They did incredible. Well, also making our TBT list is Daft Punk. Now, in the early...
come on, though.
They are,
the kings.
everyone knows
So
them
cool.
now, but they've been around since the 90s, the French electronic duo, and they wear the robot helmets, and they also take on like robot-like personalities when they do public appearances. But the reason for this is they say the reason they keep their identity anonymous is because they are quite shy. So that's why they get the robot look, and I mean, they've had great hits more recently with Pharrell Williams, their Get Lucky. So
They make this look so good.
Yeah, but there's got to be that one day where you want someone to know who you are. Like, no, I'm the guy from Daft Punk. I want to go there.
No, you're lying.
Get out of here. Well, let's bring it local for our Throwback Thursday. Jack's Panic, it was done basically as a parody on South African music. They all wore the masks to keep their identities private. Obviously, they all work for other bands, work in other bands as well. And they didn't want it to represent any particular one of them, but the general. And I think they pulled it off. And they also released some pretty awesome tracks along the way.
So here's the question we're asking you at home. What are your thoughts on these hiding masked musicians? Do you really believe what they're saying, that they're hiding their identities in order to keep the fans focused on their music and outside of their personal lives? And yeah, exactly. Why would they be doing this? Let us know on our Facebook page. We'll be reading your comments a little bit later on. Of course, include our hashtag Expresso Show. But let's take a moment to celebrate a musician who never thought to hide his identity.
You can make my day.